Alice in Chains. I have a new episode of The Old 52. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, The Old 52 is basically my own 52 of number ones. Now, the catch is, these are all back issues, and they're all defunct series. Who's to say you can't rediscover some old classics? Now, here we go. First off, I do have to say that they're brought to you by my own self-published works. Here's Caprice and Other Stories. It's available online. The links are going to be below. It's a novella of short horror stories. And The Red Knight 3 just came out this week. It's the last issue of the first story arc. And let's see. Ooh, it's cool. But you can check it out. The links are at the bottom. As far as what to buy, you can get it on PayPal and look me up brother-justin@hotmail.com, or send a check or money order to my P.O. Box. All that's going to be below. So, let's get to this number one. Now, this number one is from 1994, and it's from Marvel again. I'll have a DC one coming up soon. This one is nice and shiny. This is Generation X number one. This is by Scott Lobdell and Chris Bachillo. Now, Chris Bachillo had been making a name for himself over at DC not too long before this. I think his probably biggest thing before this was actually, I think I have it right over here, don't I? It's this. It was the Death, the High Cost of Living miniseries. Here's my very, very beat-up hardcover, actually. I've loaned that out to way too many people. This is Lobdell. He had already been making a name for himself with the X-Men books. And this was Marvel's attempt at kind of doing something a little different, a little not typical of what they were doing. Because a lot of the stuff they were doing was like big superhero action stuff, Jim Lee style. And, you know, the big, Cable stuff was, going on a lot during this period. And the creators of this book decided to go back and do something a little more quirky, I guess, or more realistic, something a little more Steve Ditko. Some of the kind of ideas that Stanley had related to the fact that it's a school, and these kids are they still feel strange and awkward with their new powers. And one of the big things was a lot of their powers were a little more grotesque than what we were used to. There's Paige right here, whose name is Husk, and she can change superpowers at will. All she has to do is rip her skin off, like so. I guess it also includes clothes too. Yeah, she just sheds her skin, and she has a new superpower, which grosses the fuck out of Jubilee right here. Now, Jubilee is, of course, the veteran of the group. She's like 14 or 15, but at this point she had been several years with the X-Men, traveling in all sorts of different adventures, even being on different planets and universes. So, even though she's the same age, she feels like she is kind of like, kind of chained back by these kids. And, she should even be the leader. She constantly says, oh, when I was with the X-Men, we were doing this kind of shit, There's Monet, who is this is the first time I believe she came around. She's this immensely powerful character that's very egotistical. And Banshee. His real name is Sean Cassidy, so he's not going to be singing "Do Run Run." That's a different guy. And let's see, I can never remember this dude's name. But also there's Skin, who is sort of a stretch guy, but his bones don't stretch. He's just got like 8 feet of extra skin that stretches out. So it's grosser than Mr. Fantastic. And let's see, also Emma Frost. This is one of the first major times that she took a leading role in Xavier's schools. Now, there's also some other characters, but I'll get to them in just a moment. First off, the art. The art is just beautiful. I love Chris Pacello's work, and this was really something different for the X-Men book. So this kind of like almost Steve Ditko kind of storytelling. Keep in mind, this is when everybody was trying to be Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld. So everybody was bulging and posing and jumping, and backgrounds were becoming very, very rare. So, you know, Pacello like filled up his scenes with a lot of beautiful background, and you know, I love this car, by the way. He draws cars really well, and that's another thing. He draws cars, and that was kind of a big deal. Anyway, a lot of this issue has to do with setting up the school, setting up this new group, and let's see, Banshee and Emma Frost are leading it. And they're greeting a new guy whose name is Chamber, and he is Jonathan Starsmark, I think is his name. And let's see, and here we go. Oops. And he's this British mutant whose face blew off due to his power, and you know, he's an energy guy. Not too. I suppose maybe a little bit like Cyclops in a way. What a cool character. There's almost, I don't know, maybe it's because Pacello's art, but there's a little something Neil Gaiman-ish about that character. They try to greet him at the airport, but they're attacked by this guy named Implate, who seems to feed off of mutant power. And he's unsuccessful. By the way, he's super crazy, gross looking. He's got long hair. Seems to be on an oxygen tank, and he's half metal. He's not looking too good. And he's been feeding off another mutant. He escapes. He's not able to get him, so he goes back to his lair with his little dwarfy sidekick. And he goes to feed off a mutant he's had captive, and she's gone. And it's Penitence, this character that shows up, this all-red character. And she doesn't speak, and her body is just sharp all over, and it's like she's impossible to touch because she's like rigid, hard, and indestructible. And I mean, if she touches you, she'll cut the shit out of you because her fingers are just like blades. And let's see. And there seems to be an odd connection between Implate and Monet. I won't get into that in case you're not familiar with that backstory. But there's a lot of shit going on with Monet and Penitence and Implate. A lot of stuff to talk about. But this was the first issue, and boy, it really got off to a big bang. This was look at this cover. I mean, this is the age of the shiny covers. I mean, this almost feels like metal, for God's sakes. How much was this book? This was $3.95 back in 1999, and it really took off. And was this was quite a fun book. There's a lot of stuff you're seeing now with like Avengers Academy and let's see, like a couple of the other mutant books. And it got started here, I think. This was a fun book. I'm sorry this didn't last outside of the team. Unfortunately, after Lobdell and Chris Pacello left the book, it did kind of like fade as far as its prominence was concerned. It's also, by the way, influenced a TV movie on Fox, which was terrible and didn't really have any kind of the spirit that you see in this book. This is actually a lot of fun. Some of the reasons why you should be interested: Scott Lobdell. He's doing a lot of stuff right now over at DC. Here's him writing, let's see, a lot of female characters and writing them well. As well as young characters. He tends to write young characters very well, I think. And let's see, Chris Pacello is always wonderful. Chris Pacello has been he's back on another X book actually, occasionally working on X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men. And let's see. Oh, here's a fun thing. I want to tell you something. This is a little off subject here, but I want to show you how much how Marvel was into X-Men and Spider-Man during the 90s. Here's let's see, first annual and last annual Marvel survey. And there's 10 questions. Not one of them is about the Avengers or Fantastic Four or Hulk. None of them. This is all X-Men, X-Men, X-Men. Spider-Man. Yeah. It's 1, 2, 3. It's 8. Excuse me. One generic question, which could be about anybody, and then 7 X-Men questions and 1 Spider-Man question. Yeah, they didn't give a fuck about the Avengers during 1994. How things have changed. It's really strange. Well, that's it. I highly recommend picking this book up, and all the issues that Scott Lobdell and Chris Pachillo did on this series. I thought it was quite good work, and one of the last X-Men books I really read thoroughly, I thought. And I'm going to leave you off here. Next week, I'm going to be doing another episode of the Old 42, and I think I will tell you, how about that? It's going to be a Justice Society book. Which one? Push the button, Lindsay.